Welcome to The Most Excellent Way. The Most Excellent Way is a family reunification center. We do several things. We house male and female ex-offenders. But today our attention will be brought to the fathers that sit at this table. Fathers that have found a new way to live. Fathers that have information that we don't have on how to stay drug-free, how to be reunified with their children, and how to offer themselves as men back into society, the workforce. I am so proud of the men at this table.
For me, growing up, I was the only boy in the family with 4 girls. Actually, I was in the middle, so it wasn't exactly easy, but I felt as though I had to grow up fast because during that period, my father wasn't there, my mother watching her basically do everything that she could to raise us, and then me being the only boy, I believe at a young age, it left me feeling as though I had to be the man of the house, We didn't have a whole lot, but we always had what we needed. So, I mean, for me to be able to look back at it now, I didn't feel like we was lacking anything. I think I grew up a stunner, so I think I found myself trying to adapt and fill the space and fill a void, which I'm aware today that I have, didn't know then. But, looking for, I used to, at one time it was a big brother image, then as I got older, it turned into me having a desire for that father figure, that positive male role model, somebody that I could, identify with in that way, in the male perspective. So I believe as I got older, and I'm talking about maybe age of 18 to 19, that became a serious void for me. And I believe that led me to being acting out on it, having some form of resentments, some anger management issues, and subject to it, and basically, I think I looked toward the streets, for other young men to have that form of relationship with. Unfortunately, not realizing that some of those young men suffered from the same issues that I did, so it was somewhat like the blind leading the blind. Suffering from a form of peer pressure, with me trying to fit into an image that was accepted, by my peers, it led me down a road of destruction. So it also set me up for a lot of close to death experiences. I found myself having to go out in the streets at times and, like I said, grow up fast because I had to actually fight guys older than me because I had, like I said, I'm in the middle. I had 2 sisters, 2 older, 2 younger, and the 2 older ones were the only ones that could basically go or do anything. The 2 younger stayed closer to home. So by the 2 older being able to go out and, hang out in the streets a little bit, they were the ones that had the trouble. And like I said, they were older than me, so I had to go out there and fight guys older than me. And then what happened with that was that it led me into wanting to have someone else, to team up with me, so I ended up, hanging out with gang members and stuff like that, and fighting and stuff like that, having to prove myself to them, just to be a part of them, be able to hang out with them. And as I got older, it led into that type of pattern, that type of behavior. In 2008 or so, 2009, I got shot. After that, it seemed like for some reason, because I was so conditioned to that lifestyle, to me at that point in time, it wasn't a red flag, because of my conditioning, because of my belief systems, because of, like I say, subconsciously, I didn't even realize how programmed I was, and how much of a desire that I had for that specific lifestyle. So I just went with the flow. I see a lot of guys became conditioned to the system. They became somewhat institutionalized, and the system became like their first home. And for me, it was, for whatever reason, it was somewhat different because, every time I went in, it gave me a chance to clear my head. It gave me a chance to kind of look at things differently and to kind of want to have a greater desire to live different and do things differently. I had an experience that changed my entire life. And with this experience, I was sitting in a day room watching all the young men in the day room, hang out and do what they do, and some playing cards and some playing board games and things. And what happened was my attention was drawn to this one guy. And he had to be about 60, maybe a little over 60, 65 years old, 60 to 65. And the guy was carrying himself as if though he was 20. And the guy, walking around with the same lingo as the young guys, pants sagging, and I looked at him, and it hit me deeply. I'm talking about, it bothered me so much where I looked at this guy and I said, gosh, I do not want that to be me. And it bothered me so much. And I'm telling you, I actually got up, left the day room, I went into my cell. I got down on my knees and I begged God. I cried out, real tears, profusely begging God to help me to be able to take away the taste and the desire of the lifestyle in which I was living. When I came home, I started volunteering my services in Secaucus, New Jersey, doing haircuts, free haircuts for the young guys, and then offering like a form of mentoring, trying to educate them about, lifestyle I went through, keep them from going down that road. And then it just turned into other stuff from there. So following that, I grew up training and boxing. That was my sport. So I came up with an idea where I took boxing and I developed a program that was basically geared through the sport of boxing, but it gave me a chance to take some of the young guys, put them on my hip, educate them and mentor them, and do whatever I could to keep them, from continuing that lifestyle, through corrections, early death, substance abuse. And then shortly after that, I started working in the treatment facility. So I worked in a halfway house, and then for about 6 years at one location. Then I moved to another location where I supervised. And when I was in there, because of my passion and the things that I wanted to offer, with young men, they seen it. I drew up a plan, and I had my own little program going, where the guys that would come home on work detail, I would have them in a trailer, had like a little office in a trailer location, and we would basically talk about, have little group sessions, and we would talk about lifestyle challenges and stuff, And then from there, it just took off. Today, I run a teen awareness group, which is like a mentoring group, and it's ran through a church where we kind of implement Christian values and stuff in conjunction with fitness, and basically it's an open table for them, allowing the kids to be able to tell me what their interests are, and I try to add it. Because in today's time, I know that I have to keep their interest, because if I don't keep their interest, then I know it's easy to lose them, because I know the streets is always trying to offer them, draw their interest with gangs and drugs and, selling and, all that type of stuff. So, so that's basically what I do.
My name is Enzo Villafane, 31 years old. I grew up in Jersey City Heights. Both my parents was there with me. I played sports when I was a kid. I played baseball. I did very well as a kid playing baseball. But growing up, it was like I had friends that I was more focused on them because of the lifestyle they lived. I seen that even though I was more focused on the field, that I seen that I wanted to be on where they at. And just in a blink of an eye, I'm doing 48 months for someone else's mistake. Never been in the youth house, nothing. I end up doing 48 months for someone else's guns. And then I come home, and it's like I never gave up. I didn't want to stop. So by me going back, I ended up using drugs, the drugs that I really was focused on was PCP. That was my drug of choice. There was nothing that anything or anyone out there that could tell me that I could do anything else, because that's what I was focused on every single day. I stole, I manipulated a lot of people. I kept doing the drug. I kept doing it, and it was getting worse and worse by the day, by the weeks, by the years. It kept getting worse. You would think in your head that if you keep doing it, something good might get out of it, and you will never get not one good thing about it. So for me to get to this point that I'm at right now, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for a beautiful woman that accepted me in her program, most excellent way. And if without her, I would not be where I'm at. Besides me making the decisions that I've made, and realizing and opening my mind and my eyes, seeing that I'm tired of being sick and tired, and she showed me, because she had more faith in me than I had in myself. I know that there's something out there that there's really worth living for. And I have a daughter. My daughter, she's 9 years old right now, and the honest truth is, even though I was doing the drug, I wasn't really focused on her. I always thought that, if I went and I dropped off money, everything's alright. I knew I needed to be there for her. So by me being in this program, it showed me self-esteem. It showed me self-control. It showed me that there's a lot more to life, and I'm seeing it right now. I've been clean for more than 18 months, and the feeling that I have every day I wake up, I would never give that up for nothing. I just want to thank Gloria Walton, that how she helped me out. I can never ever show and appreciate what she did for me. And I'm gonna, every day that I see her and every day I'm around her, she will see my appreciation of what I have for her. I'm attending church, and church is the feeling you get. The feeling that you get while you're in there, it's like I don't know if you can explain it, but you can feel it. You can feel the spirit, the glory, the powerfulness, the positive energy that you get, that lift me. And when it lifts me, it's like today I can say I have an apartment. I have an apartment. I can tell my daughter we could go get something to eat and then come to my house and have a great time. Instead of me saying to my daughter, let's go get something to eat, I gotta bring you back home. I'm attending school right now, and that's a good feeling. I realize that no matter how old you are, you can always learn something.
Hi, my name is Michael Figgins. I'm 55 years old. I grew up in a pretty functional family with my mother and father and my 5 siblings, and they always made sure there was food on the table, clothes on our backs, and things of that nature, and they raised us pretty well. But I lost my oldest brother when I was 6 years old in the Hudson River. He was out crabbing, and they decided he wanted to go for a swim. My oldest brother, my cousin, and another gentleman, they all died. And my middle brother was saved. A Spanish man jumped off the bridge and saved him. I think that's always kind of been like a tragedy in my life, and I never thought that it would affect, my drug abuse. Well, I think I was like 12 years old. We used to get like recesses at number 14 school, and we had an hour out, and we used to go to the basketball playground over there on Arlington Avenue and shoot basketball. But they had all the older fellas out there, like one of my oldest brothers and his friends. They used to go to the liquor store for us and get us some wine and marijuana on our lunch break, whatever like that. Then we used to come back to school, and the teacher smells it on our breath and everything, and it was like kind of really crazy back then. And the times have changed now than it was before. I mean, like if you had a dispute with, like your peers and friends, that they would fight it out. Now today's youth is not, using their fists. They're using guns and violence and stuff of that nature. So it's kind of hard to absorb. I don't know what got me off track, but I was like all scholars for baseball. I had all county. I still hold a home run record for baseball. I started playing semi-pro baseball up in the Heights with New Jersey Giants and stuff. So I went to school for TV production, video graphics, photography, and animation over at Norberg and Voltech. And I needed like 16 more credits to get my license, and I never did it because I moved to Philadelphia. We moved to Philly. My brother owned a barbershop and restaurant there, and so I was supposed to go to the University of the Art School in Philly. So I didn't never go because I started smoking crack. And wow, I would think that was one of my biggest downfalls in my life, smoking crack. And I just gave up my whole future. I just feel like I let myself down. I let my parents down. My daughter, after I left Philadelphia, I came back to Jersey City, and I got a girl pregnant, and we kind of fell in love, and that teenage love or whatever. And after that, her mother passed away, and she had nowhere to turn to. So she came to live with me and my mom, them, and then she decided to go down south to stay with her grandmother, and she took my daughter away from me with her. And that was like kind of devastating for me. As far as running with drugs, I mean, I've been locked up quite a few times. I was locked up in Alabama like twice, Philadelphia twice. And here in Jersey City, I was locked up maybe like 8 times. And I got probation for almost everything, but I got away with a lot of things. I got away with a lot of things on my addiction. And in the long run, it caught up with me. So the judge had gave me like 5 years probation, and I ran for 4 years out of 5 years off it. And I was in the IOP maybe a year ago, Intense Outpatient Program, and Integrity House. And I didn't take the program seriously. I was just doing what I wanted to do. And at the age of my parents right now, they're 82 and 84 years old. If I'd have knew what I knew now that I didn't know then, I would have never been doing what I'm doing. And so the judge, they kind of gave me like an ultimatum this time, either drug court or prison. And I'm like, I've never been to prison. Don't want to go. I don't want that type of life. And you know what I mean? That's no life for no one, believe me. And so I promised God this time that I would change my life and to send me someone in my life to help me change. And that's why I'm so appreciative of Miss Gloria and to be into the most excellent way. And she's a woman of God. She will help you in anything that you need help with, as long as you abide by her rules and stay straight. She's willing to help you. I mean, she's got some. She's very, very, very well respected. I see a brighter future now because I'm glad God took that taste out of my mouth. First of all, and I prayed for that so much that I could see myself right now as far as my goal, my dream job is hotel motel management. And that's what I'm going back to school for. So that's where I see myself in like the next 5 years.
My name is Madison Frederick. I grew up in Jersey City on Madison. I went to Lincoln. I'm 48 years old. As I was growing up, I had the most average life, growing up, playing ball, doing this, doing that. It was just me, my mother, my 3 sisters, and my 6 brothers, And we grew up together, it was okay. But, me being the 7th child is like the odd child, and that's when it started getting difficult for me. I started off indulging at an older age, probably I can remember about 30. And then I was going in and out of the county. It was crazy for me, and learning the ways of doing what I was doing because I just jumped in. I went to prison twice. Then I found myself sitting in the cell by myself wondering why and, where did I go wrong at? And this last time I came home, I went to prison, I learned a couple of trades. I stayed out of addiction for 4.5 years and I kind of fell off. This time I almost died. I was in ICU. I don't suggest, drugs for anybody because I still don't have it together yet. But I'm better than I was 8, 9 months ago. I got pointed to Most Excellent Way and started searching and searching and doing research and searching and searching. And then when I got, the the paperwork for it. I put it in and started doing it and interviewing. This is where I'm at today. I'm almost a year clean, physical, excellent, mental, still working on. But I can say today, I'm much cleaner, much better than where I was almost a year ago.
My name is Jonathan. I'm 35 years old. My mom and dad were both drug addicts and alcoholics. My brothers, my older brothers were drug addicts. I seen a lot of things that, as a kid growing up, shouldn't see that, and I ended up like experimenting with drugs at a young age. I must have been like 12, 13 years old. Growing up where I grew up in North New Jersey and over here in Jersey City, they're both rough neighborhoods. There's a lot of crime and a lot of like drug dealing in the neighborhood and everything. Like most of my arrests, especially as a juvenile, was a lot of like thefts. It went from stealing cars to burglaries, and then when I was introduced to the drugs, my drug use it went from like smoking marijuana to like shooting heroin like so fast and like in like a couple years. With the drug habit, especially with the heroin, I needed money to support my habit, and my crimes increased and the nature of the crimes got worse. Before I became an adult I just turned 17 years old, I caught a really heavy case. I was charged with carjacking and vehicular homicide, and I was charged as an adult, and basically I was sent to state prison at 17, 18 years old with at first it was a 30-year prison sentence. I had to do 15 years before I had a chance of being released on parole. And at 17 years old, 30 years is like, that's my life. My life is over. I had to learn like a whole new way of living and everything in prison, and being so young, I wasn't even fully mature. I had a lot of problems in prison, fighting with other inmates. I ended up getting involved with gangs and stuff like that, and even in prison, I was still getting high. The drugs in the prisons, it sometimes, like, I've been in prisons where there was more drugs in there than there was on the streets. I made parole, and when I got out, the world was just like, it was totally different. Like when I got locked up, there was beepers. I come out, there's these smartphones, and like the whole world was just like totally different. It was crazy. I ended up getting picked up for a burglary that I committed in 2011 while I was on parole. I ended up back in the county jail, and with the heroin habit, I had to go through the withdrawal and all that stuff again. And I went to court, and the judge offered me this program that I'm currently in, and the judge explained what the program is, and she felt that it would help me out. When I came here, I was still fighting with the addiction. The people in the program, they told me, like, listen, we can't help you if you continue to use drugs. I got to the point where I was just tired. I was tired of being on the streets. I was scared to go back to prison. This short period of time that I've been clean, I accomplished so much. I completed my outpatient program. I've been, giving clean urines. I'm about to start college in, the next couple months. Things have, they've been working out for me. I have somewhere to live now. I see, a great future for me. I'm going to school to be like, a social worker or a drug counselor, give what I've been through, use what I've been through, like my struggle, and basically use my story to help people that, are struggling and, with addiction and incarceration and stuff like that. There's so much for me out there for me to do. It's just, I gotta stay clean. I gotta stay clean and stay focused.
All right, so my name is Enzo. I'm 47 years old. I'm from Jersey City. I'm a recovering drug addict. My drug of choice is heroin. The only way I could describe my childhood is being really good and really, really bad. There was some really good points and there was some really, really bad points. My father abandoned me when my mother was pregnant with me, and my father's side of the family lived in the Bronx, and my mother's side lived here in Jersey. I was here with my mother's side in Jersey, and I just briefly visited, on my father's side. I've met my father maybe 3 times in my life, so that was a big void for me. I kind of feel like I never fit in. I was a real hyper and nervous kid growing up. So I had red hair, and my name is Enzo, and I'm Italian, and I always felt different. I didn't feel like I fit in. It was difficult for me. My childhood had physical abuse. My uncle physically abused me. Verbal, there was a lot of verbal abuse, and there was sexual abuse. I was sexually abused by a female when I was 4 years old. And I'm going to assume that played into me using drugs. I smoked my first joint when I was 10 years old, and I feel like I instantly got addicted to it. I instantly got hooked. It felt like when I smoked that joint, all my insecurities and all my fears and everything just went away. I finally fit in because, I never felt comfortable in my own skin. And sometimes I still struggle with that. My drug abuse escalated, and I'm like the poster boy for when I say, marijuana, because I did the levels. It was pot, and then pot with alcohol, and then sniffing coke, smoking crack, sniffing heroin, and then it ended up shooting heroin. I've been arrested so many times, county jail, I think about 31 times, state prison twice, homelessness, a few rehabs, lost dreams, lost hopes, lost relationships, overdoses. My drug addiction, I feel like it took me out of what I was intended to do in life. I just continued to use drugs in spite of all the consequences. And it was just a constant cycle of addiction, homelessness, little skidbids in jail, standing in soup kitchens and sleeping in back of a truck. And I just continued with that for a very long time. Some of the other consequences of my drug abuse is I contracted hepatitis C. I don't know how I escaped HIV. I reached the point where I realized that I couldn't do this on my own. I voluntarily put myself in a 30-day program, and I guess the stars were aligned correctly and something was on my side, but someone told me about this program, Most Excellent Way. It's probably one of the best decisions I made was to come into this program and start my recovery. It gives you an opportunity to work on some job skills. In the morning, we go to job readiness, and in the evening, we go to IOP. So, that's important because, recovery is not just putting the drug down. There's a lot of work to be done. It's, you don't just stop using drugs and sit back and say, I'm cured. Unfortunately, it does not work that way. I have major gaps in employment, and I'm coupled with a criminal record. So these are the challenges that we face. And I feel the program, Most Excellent Way, helps to address that. It gives you some contacts with people that will set you up with different job opportunities. And then in the evening, you're working on your recovery in your IOP. You're talking about your issues. Recovery is about going in deep and clearing up and working on a lot of your fears and your insecurities. And basically, that's where I'm at today in my recovery. And I feel good. I'm very optimistic about my future. I'm very grateful for Miss G and how she runs the program. She runs a tight ship, and if you want the help, I know it's there for you.